Hi guys, today we will learn about OSI model, Open System Interconnection Model. OSI model defines and uses used to understand how data is transferred from one computer to another in a computer system. In the basic form, two computers endpoints connected to each other with LAN network, media and connectors sharing data with the help of an ICS forms a network. But if one computer is based on Microsoft Windows and the other has a Mac OS installed, and how these two computers are going to communicate with each other in order to accomplish successful communication between computer or network of different architectures. Semi-layers OSI models or open system interconnection model was introduced by International Organization ISO for standardization in 1987, containing application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. Note that each layer is a package of protocols, set of rules and conventions. If I say application layers, then it does not mean that it includes computer applications like Chrome's, Firefox, etc. But it includes application layers protocols that are needed to make these applications work correctly in a network or internet. Let's start with the topmost layers. Application layer. The application layer is used by network applications. Network application means computer applications. Note that use internet like Google Chrome's, Firefox, Outlook, Skype, etc. Web browser is a network application running, and this is process so on HTTPS, HTTPS, and more about this topic. Not only web browser but all network application including Outlook, Skype, etc. all are depends on application layer protocols to function. These are dozen of application layers protocols that enable various functions at this layer. All these protocols collectively form the application layer. These protocols form the basis for various network services like file transfer, web serving, emails, virtual terminals, etc. File transfer is done with the help of FTP protocol. Web surfing is done with the help of HTTP. For emails, SMTP protocol is used, and for virtual terminals, Telnet is used. Moreover, application layer provides servers for network applications with the help of protocols to perform users' activities. Next to application layer, to presentation layers. Presentation layers receive data from application layer. This data is in the form of characters and numbers. Presentation layer convert these characters and numbers to machine understandable binary format. Example: conversion of ASCII and ABCD code. The function of presentation layers is called translation. Before the data is transmitted, presentation layer reduces the number of bits that are used to represent the original data. This bit reduction process is called data compression, and it can be lossy and lossless. Data compression reduces the amount of space used to store the original files, and the size of file is reduced. It can be received at destination in very less time. Data transmission can be done faster. Thus, data compression is very helpful to real-time video or audio streaming. To maintain the integrity of data before transmission data is encrypted. Encryption enhances security of the sensitive data. At sender inside, data is encrypted and a receiver side data is decrypted. SSL protocols secure socket layer is used to presentation layer for encryption and decryption. Whatever about this topic, so presentation layer performs three basic functions: translation, comprehension, encryption, decryption. And more about this topic is now session layer. Suppose you have planned for a party. You have hired a few helpers ensuring that each activity runs smoothly. Helpers will help you in setting up, assisting, cleaning, and then closing the party. Same the case with session layer. Session layer helps in setting up and managing connection, enabling sending and receiving of data followed by the termination of a connection or sessions. Like you hired some helpers for your party, session layers has its own helpers called APIs or application programming interface. Node, BIOS, or network basic input output system as an example of API, which allows applications on different computers to communicate with each other just before a session or connection is established with a server. Server perform a function called authentication. Authentication is the process of verifying who are you. For the server uses a username and password. Once entered username and password are matched, a session or connection is established between your computer and the server. Now you can upload after authentication and the user authorization is checked. Authorization is the process used by server to determine if you have permission to access a file. If not, you will get a message saying you are not authorized to access the page. Both of these functions, authorization and authorization, are performed by session layer. The session layer keeps a track of the files being downloaded. For example, a web page contains text and image. The text and image are stored in a separate file in the web server. Who you request for website in your web browser open for that. Session and browser download each of these text and image files. These files are received in the form of data packets. Session layer keeps a track of which data packets belong to which file, either text file or image file, or tracks with the received data packets. That in the case it goes to web browser. That is session layer helps in the session browser. That is session layer help in session management. Session layer helps in the session management, authentication and authorization. So session layer helps in session management, authentication, and your web browser perform all function of session presentation and application layers. Layer below session layer is transport layer. And this is going to a real fantastic and critical and most important topic that we're going to learn. Transport layer control the reliability to communication through segmentation flow. Transport, segmentation, flow control, error control. In segmentation, data received from session layers is divided into small data units called segments. Each segment contains a source and destination, port number and sequence number. Port number helps to detect smaller data units to correct applications. Sequence number helps to resemble some smaller data units in the correct order to form message in the receiver. In flow control, transport layer control the amount of data transmitted to a level in the receiver can process consider our mobile application to our server. Server can transmit data maximum at 100 MBs and mobile can process data maximum at 10 MBs. Now we are downloading a file from server, but server starting data 15 MBs, which is greater than the mobile phone can process. So mobile phone with the help of the transport layer can tell the server to slow down data transmission rate up to 10 MB so that no data gets lost. Similarly, if server is ending data at 5 MB, mobile phone tells server to increase data transmission rate to 10 MB to maintain system performance. Transport layer also helps to error control. If some data units do not arrive at the destination, transport layer use automatic repeat request ARQ scheme to retransmit the lost of corrupted checkism, a group of bits, ones and twos added to each data segment by transport layer is used to find out erroneous received data. Protocol of transport layer are transmission control protocol and user datagram protocol UDP. Transport layer provides two type of service: connection oriented transmission and connectionless transmission. Connection oriented transmission is done via voice TCP while connectionless transmission is done with UTP. UTP and TCP. No feedback about this topic and it's going to be really interesting feedback. Therefore, lost packet can be transmitted in TCP transmission control protocol. UDP is used where it does not matter whether you have received all data. Examples, and you have take a video and you are listening the music. Example, streaming movies, songs, online games. In other hand, TCP is used where full data delivery is most. Example, World Wide Web, email, file transfer protocol, etc. So transport layer perform segmentation, flow control, error control, connection and so connectionless transmission. It is a transport layer. Transport layer passes data segments to the network layer. Network layer works for the transmission of received data segment from one computer to another located in different networks. Segments in a network layer are called packets. It is the layer where routers decide the function of the network layer are logical addressing, routing, path determination, local addressing, IP tracing done in network layer is called logical addressing. Every computer in a computer has a unique IP address. As a network layer deals with the data delivery, so this layer assign IP address to each data packet so that each data packets can reach the correct destination. About more this topic, we can receiver and sender authentication. Routing is a method of moving from source to destination. It is based on the logical address format of IPv4. Suppose computer A is connected to computer 1 and computer B is connected to network B. Network in simple terms means from computer B and you have requested to access feedback on, and now there is a reply from Facebook server for computer B in the form of packets. This packet needs to be delivered to computer B only. Since in a network each device has a unique IP address, so these both computers will, since in a network having a unique IP address as well. Network layer of a Facebook server have already added sender and receiver IP addresses in the packet. Please correct marks 255, 255, 255 and 0. These are the packets. The marks tell us the first three combinations represent network while the last combination represent host or computer B. So based on IP address format received data packets will move to network B to 1 and then to computer B. So based on IP address and marks routing decisions are made in a computer network. Path determination: a computer can be connected to any network, internet, server or a network in a number of ways. Choosing best possible path of data delivery from source to destination is called path determination. Layer 3 devices use protocols such as OSPF, Open Short Path First, and Border Gateway Protocol (ISIS). Intermediate system to determine best application toward data. Data link layer. Receive data packets from network layer which contain IP addresses of sender and receiver. There are two kinds of addressing: logical addressing and physical addressing. Logical addressing is done at network layer, where sender and receiver IP addresses are assigned to each data packet. And this function physical addressing is done at data link layer, where MAC medium access control of both devices are assigned to the received data packet. And so a MAC MAC address is a 12-digit alphanumeric numbers embedded in NICE of your computer by the manufacturer. Data unit in a data link layer is called data link layer. Is embedded as a software of an IC of a computer and provided means to transfer data from one computer to another by a local media. Local media includes copper wire, optical fiber, or air for radio signals. Please note here media does not correspond to audio, video, animation. It refers to the physical links between two or more computers or networks. The data link layer performs two basic functions. It allows the upper layer to access the media using techniques such as framing, controls how data is placed and received from media using techniques such as media access control and error reduction. Accessible the media. Consider two distant hosts, a laptop and desktop, communication with each other, as laptop and desktop are connected to different networks as they will use network layer protocols. IP, for example, to communicate with each other. In the example desktop to connected to router R1 versus an Ethernet cable. Router 1 and router 2 are connected with the satellite link and laptop is connected to router R2 by wireless link. Now desktop wants to send some data to laptop based on the medium based on connect desktop and router R2 data link layer embedded as software in NFC. Desktop adds some data in head and tail of IP to in the frame and an Ethernet frame. In the case router 1 receive in the Ethernet frame, decapsulate to it IP packets and then encapsulates it again to a frame so that it can cross satellite link to reach data router. It will again to capsulate the received frame and encapsulate used to connect router RT and laptop's wireless data link frame. In this, laptop received wireless data links frame to capsule and then forward IP packets to network layer and finally to application layer. And further about this topic, application layer protocols that make received data visible on computer screen that can be seen. So network layers are higher level layers to able to transfer data over media, which are LAN cable and air. This is data link layer provided access to media to higher layers OSI. That is data link. Data link layer controls how data is placed and received from the media. Data link layer and send receive from the techniques used to get the frame end of the media to called media access control. This may be a number of devices connected to a common media. If two or more devices are data at the same time, and there may be possibility of the collision of the two messages, resulting in a useless message that neither receive understand. To avoid this situation, data link layer keeps and one shared media is free, so that device can transmit data for the receiver. This is called carrier sense multiple access CSMA. So data link layer with the media access control methods control when data is placed and received from the media. For tail of each frame contain bits which are used to detect error in the received data. This occurred due to contain limitation of media used for its transferring data. Physical layer till now data from application layer has physical layer being segmented by transport layer placed into packets by network layer and framed by data link layer, which is sequence of binary ones and zeros and ones form. Physical layer converts this binary sequence into single and transmit over local media. It can be an electrical signal in case of copper cable or LAN cable, light signal in case of optical fiber, and radio signals in the case of air as local media. So the signal generated by the physical layer depends on the type of media used to connect two devices. At receiver side, physical layer receives signals, convert into bits and pass it to data link. And layer as a frame, and then it higher layers finally to application layer. And more about this, we have learned layer frame and then the higher application layer protocols make the sender message visible and application. And this was the all about we have learned about in depth about the OSI model. I hope so you have learned many things from this video, and thank you for you have listened all the time you have reached at the end. Thank you so much, and we will take another video on another topic.